Next, Addison Brasil. Addison is an actor, producer, the founder of Tethr, an online peer-to-peer community that aims to help 5 million men to have open conversations about their life issues and their mental health in a safe and barrier-free environment. Addison, come on the show here.
Hey there, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, and I'm so grateful that we could finally have this opportunity to actually chat, because we've been connected for a little while now and haven't had that chance yet. So tell me and the audience about Tethr.
Yeah, of course. So Tethr was born last year in June. It is a men's mental health and well-being app that focuses on peer support and peer programming. And what we aim to do is just normalize having real conversations. It's for anyone who identifies as a man, and it really is about being a solution for the men's mental health epidemic that we see going on today. I mean, obviously the suicide statistics for men, with 75% of all suicides being men, and other statistics that have really guided us to find a solution that allows men to seek help in a way that works for them. And the research shows that the way that works is through peer-enabled activities, meaning when a man sees another man do something or share something, it makes them more likely to do that themselves.
You know, I use this example all the time, but I remember when we were still allowed to do things in public, I had a speaking engagement in Pittsburgh there were something like 5,000 steel workers, predominantly men, in this great big union hall. Most of them, you know, in their jeans and plaids, who came out to listen to me talk on a stage about mental health and my own story, you know, not as an expert, but as a person with lived experience. And that was one of the most memorable events that I'd ever done, because you had these middle-aged and older men coming up to me crying, talking about all these issues. And one, I remember distinctly saying that he'd never told anybody before because he just didn't grow up in a place where it was okay to talk about mental health. I think that really speaks to the different culture that men grow up in, that tells them that it's not okay to be weak, that it's not okay to open up about your feelings.
Yeah, I think that, you know, whenever I'm speaking or whenever we're talking about Tethr, that's one thing that we always try to drive home, is this idea of creating a safe space and a barrier-free environment. And I know with my own personal story, I lost my brother to cancer at 19. I found my father after his suicide 4 years after that. And then I was in a very tragic car accident that killed a dear friend of mine and left me relearning to walk, all before the age of 30. And I have to say that when I finally got to the point where I could be brave and share that in men's circles or just in conversations daily, as soon as I shared, it sort of created a safe space. And then sure enough, someone who I never expected would share something with me that they had been through. And it just really shows that, you know, if we make that safe space for men, that they really can show up inside of it.
Yeah. Now, have you found, you know, I've always found that men actually do seem to want to open up about these kinds of issues, whether it's their trauma or their grief, but they often don't know how. Is there any piece of this where we're actually giving people some skills, men, some skills for how do you just start that conversation with somebody else?
Yeah, and that's something that we're really beginning to look at and specialize, especially with Tethr. We launched our Tethr Pods this month, which is actually a peer learning experience where you're put in a pod and you learn with a group of men. And so much about the learning is about sort of connecting and speaking within the learning that we do with this master coach. And you're put with 5 other guys and you sort of go through this experience all together, because again, that idea of learning experientially rather than being told what to do seems to be more effective. And I think that one of the coolest things about my job running impact and brand for Tethr and creating these programs is going, okay, what are the barriers? What's getting in the way of you sharing? And for some men, the entry point is just being able to, their first word, one word, you know, on the topic. And it's that comfortability. So like within the app, we do everything from like long shares to one word check-ins, you know, just getting guys to let us know how they feel physically, mentally, and emotionally in one word. And just sort of building the habit, practicing the vulnerability, I think is a very big thing. And yeah, I have to say that, you know, despite stigma, once men kind of settle into that safe space, they do want to share. Of course they want to share. They want to connect, and really, really cool magical stuff happens. And that's one thing that I've been saying a lot in my own interviews is Tether's become this really remarkable place. And a lot of people think, oh, mental health app, I'll just go on there when I'm struggling or when I'm really having a difficult time. But one of the coolest things is how much we celebrate inside of Tether, because that's a big part of it too, is celebrating awareness and just showing up for each other on good days and bad days, no matter what.
Peer support, I think, is often seen as, in these kinds of environments, like you say, as a place to go when you're feeling down. But really, if we're gonna defeat stigma and encourage help-seeking behavior, we have to get out way in front of it. So then, how do we begin to change the culture that tells men that it isn't okay to open up, that if they are feeling things like depression, anxiety, even suicidality, to tell somebody, anybody, and get help? Even just the term toxic masculinity hasn't been around all that long. So are we making any progress in starting to change that dynamic?
I believe absolutely. I mean, even in my own experience, like even with Bell Let's Talk Day, I mean, I remember the first one, and obviously going through my journey and trying to honor my own journey, seeing year by year as this conversation gets bigger and stronger. And then in our own little, Tether world, just seeing, I mean, we've now connected 3,000 guys worldwide in the year where you couldn't travel, and just connecting and building this culture that I've never witnessed before. It's really cool, and we see every day that just one conversation at a time. And there's so much in this container that we've created where you can witness it happening without being a part of it yet. So you see it happening with other guys, and it normalizes it before you're even active in the process. And so you have that option to just kind of drop in and see how it works for other people. And then when you're ready, to share. And I think the other part of, normalizing the conversation is realizing it's not always about asking for help. Of course, if you need help, ask for help. And especially when it comes to crisis, doing that. But peer support, and we talk about this whenever we do talks on peer support, is a balanced and boundary-driven relationship. So at any point, you're in a place where you can support or be supported. And it's really important to check in with yourself and maintain that balance, right? No one's there to fix anyone. Tether's not there to fix anyone. We're there to help you honor that journey and let you know that, struggling doesn't make you any less of a man. It just makes you human. That's kind of our big takeaway always, is letting you know that, and showing up no matter what the circumstance is, and being a part of that balance is what kind of creates that ecosystem where we can really move forward with this conversation.
I've only got about a half a minute left, but tell me about the tagline, the logo and the t-shirt that I've been seeing you wear.
Yeah. Oh, this one? or the actual one. It's a strong reminder to focus on feelings, how you're feeling, not what you're thinking. I'm a failure is a thought. Dive a little deeper. What does that feel like? How can we go into that more and share that with somebody? That's kind of the quick version of it. But just be willing to fuck with your feelings is where that comes from. Because thoughts, can be very limited and constructed over a long period of time. And a lot of guys just don't know that. So just bringing awareness to that.
Addison Brasil, and the app is Tether. People can get it on the App Store, and I understand now on Android as well.
Yep, available this week on Android.
Awesome. And we'll share that on our social as well. Thank you so much, Addison.
Thank you, Mark. Have a good one.
My next guest is Bruce Sellery. Bruce is a fabulous best-selling author of Moolah Law, Why Smart People Do Dumb Things with Their Money. I'm one of those people. And what you can do about it. He's a money columnist on CBC Radio, Money Sense, and Cityline. He presents to audiences across North America about finances, career management, and productivity. Let's get Bruce in here.
Hello, Mark.
Hello, Bruce. How are you?
I am well. I don't know. Can we say Happy Bell Let's Talk Day? Can we say that? Can we celebrate it? It's not like it's a Hallmark